Liz Trent, and I have 2 children who have been in the Terraces Teachers Program.
Gracie is 7 and Matthew will be 4 next month. When I had Gracie, my now 7-year-old, I was the first one in my family to ever breastfeed. Nobody in my family knew how to help me with any problems I had encountered. Gracie ended up having colic for 4 months. This wasn't the type of colic that you read about in books and parenting magazines, where the baby just cries in the evening. Gracie cried and screamed for 4 months straight, night and day. The only time she wasn't screaming was when she was nursing or sleeping. As soon as she quit nursing or woke up, she screamed. Diapers, baths, or any time awake was torture for her. I would see pictures of moms sitting in rocking chairs holding their babies and thought, that is a myth. Gracie would not let me sit down while holding her. Gracie would not let me stand while I was holding her. Gracie made me walk, bounce, and rock with her while she screamed. We called it the chicken walk. The combination of walking, rocking, and bouncing lessened the screaming only slightly when I would do these things. And yes, we did try swings and many other things that just did not work for her. You could actually see a trail of worn down carpet from where we did the chicken walk for 4 months. I would call my grandma and ask her, what do I do? She said, I don't know, Mita, just let her cry. That way she'll stop. I wasn't comfortable with that. I would call my mom and ask her what to do, and she would tell me, I don't know, Liz. You're the one who wanted to breastfeed. I don't know what to tell you. The general advice I was given was that I was holding her too much and spoiling her. It seems like every time I was around my family, I was only told that that was why she was crying so much was because I spoiled her. I was no expert, but I knew that that couldn't be true of a newborn baby. When Gracie quit crying, it was about 5 months old, we decided to baptize her at the Assumption Church. Debbie came there to give a Bright Beginnings presentation, and I gave my full attention to the information she was giving because I was one of these new age radical parents who wanted their child to be the smartest, brightest, happiest, healthiest, etc. Then Debbie stopped talking about her Bright Beginnings program and told us this story about the children of Romania, the babies, who had just been laid down in large rooms of hundreds and hundreds of cribs. The babies were swaddled in blankets and then put in the cribs. Adults came around to give the babies bottles, but nobody ever held the babies. Not only did the babies develop a rocking when they grew older to comfort themselves, they actually had damaged and delayed brain development. I still remember it like it was yesterday when Debbie told us, don't ever let anybody tell you not to hold your baby because you might spoil it, because a lot of these babies in Romania died from lack of brain development. From that point on, I knew that Debbie knew what she was talking about, and I wanted to be a part of Bright Beginnings and parents as teachers. The other cool thing I remember Debbie telling me after she had been to my house for several visits was that there are studies out there that babies who had colic had higher IQs. I told Debbie, oh, that's great. But I didn't understand why. She said it's because the parents were actually holding their children for the first 3 months of their lives and not propping bottles and leaving them in car seats to play. Needless to say, Gracie was reading at 2, and when she entered kindergarten, she entered at a second grade, second semester reading level, and is, I think, smarter than her dad and I put together. I just thank God that I had Debbie and then later Gerald along the way to answer my question, because who knows what other advice I could have followed along the way. Gerald became our parent educator for Matthew last year. Even though Debbie had given Gerald Gracie and Matthew's background with Parents as Teachers program by telling him that we had always had done all of the homework that they had left us for the month, I don't think Gerald could have ever expected some of the things that came out of little Matthew's mouth. Here is one example. Matthew was still quite little, and Gerald was asking Matthew if he knew all of his colors. Matthew said yes. Gerald laid out 5 blocks, 1 yellow, 1 green, 1 red, and 2 blues. The blue blocks were not the exact same shade of blue. Gerald pointed to the yellow block and asked Matthew if he knew what color it was. Matthew said yes. This one's yellow, this one's green, this one's red, this one is blue, and this one is indigo. In between colors, Gerald was yes, good job, good job, good job. When Matthew said indigo, Gerald's jaw dropped, and he was silent for about 2 seconds. He looked at me very confused and said, "What did he just say?" I cracked up laughing, and then Gerald smiled and he said, "Did he just say indigo?" That Matthew had to know what indigo was, because Mommy knew, and Mommy taught him. I would just like to say that I have Mommy friends who are in a far higher economic class than us, and some even have higher degrees than us. When we mommies get together, they all notice how smart Gracie and Matthew are. That is when I take the opportunity to tell them that I have a brain development specialist who comes out every month to work with my children. Even though I know that Debbie and Gerald are technically not supposed to be called brain development specialists. But what better name could I call them? These moms say, brain development specialists? Then I proceed to tell them all about the program. Some of these moms have signed up with parents as teachers, and most of them have taken the Love and Logic class also. My kids see Gerald and Debbie out in the community, and they run and give them big hugs every time they see them. Being a parent isn't easy and doesn't come with an instruction manual unless you're part of the Parents as Teachers program.